There are moments in a nation's life when a single case stops being just a legal matter and becomes a mirror, reflecting everything broken, unresolved, and uncomfortable about its systems. The story of Sunday Jackson, a farmer from Adamawa State who was sentenced to death for killing a herder while defending his own life, is one of those moments. This week, that mirror cracked open. After years on death row, after public outrage, advocacy by human rights groups, and intense international attention, including intervention from the United States Congress through Congressman Riley Moore, who raised the issue during discussions on Christian persecution and genocide in Nigeria, Sunday Jackson was finally granted a pardon. But here's the disturbing question Nigerians must confront honestly. Why did it take the intervention of the United States for Nigeria to do what many believe was morally and legally right from the beginning? And more importantly, must Nigerians' judicial conscience be activated from abroad before justice is served at home? Before we go further, pause and ask yourself this. If this case had never reached Washington, would Sunday Jackson be alive today? Tell us what you think in the comment section.
Furthermore, let's look at a farmer, a farm, and a fatal encounter. Sunday Jackson was not armed with political power. He was not wealthy. He was not connected. He was simply a farmer, one of millions, working his land when a confrontation turned violent. According to court records and testimonies, Jackson was attacked with a knife by a herder on his farmland. In the struggle that followed, the attacker died. That moment, chaotic, fearful, instinctive, became the basis for a death sentence. Despite consistent claims of clear self-defense, Sunday Jackson was convicted, sentenced to death, and eventually transferred to Kuje Medium Security Custodial Center in Abuja, where he waited year after year for an execution many Nigerians believed should never happen. For farming communities across the Middle Belt and beyond, his case sent a terrifying message. Defend yourself, and the state may kill you for it. Let's mirror the Supreme Court decision that shook public confidence. When the case reached the Supreme Court of Nigeria, many hoped reason would prevail. It didn't. The apex court upheld the death sentence, with one notable exception. Justice Helen Ogunwumiju stood alone. In a rare and courageous dissent, she called the judgment what many Nigerians were afraid to say out loud, a travesty of justice. Her words cut through the legal fog. How can a man who was attacked with a knife, who acted in defense of his life, be sentenced to death? That dissent mattered. It became the legal and moral backbone of later advocacy. It gave Nigerians proof that even within the judiciary, not everyone agreed with what had been done. Let's ask you directly. Should a dissenting opinion at the Supreme Court level ever be ignored when it exposes a potential miscarriage of justice? Drop your thoughts in the comments. When the Supreme Court pronounced the death sentence to Sunday Jackson, some Nigerians reacted and condemned the justification for such a decision. Many started calling for the intervention of the international communities to intervene. The case might still have ended quietly, fatally, if it had not crossed Nigeria's borders. Sunday Jackson's name surfaced during discussions in the United States Congress on religious violence and persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Congressman Riley Moore publicly referenced the case as evidence of systemic injustice. Suddenly, Nigeria was being watched. Suddenly, the silence became embarrassing. Suddenly, what local activists had been shouting for years became a foreign policy concern. And then, almost predictably, movement began. This is where Nigerians on X, formerly Twitter, reacted with a mix of relief, anger, and deep national shame. One user wrote, "So if the US government didn't intervene, this is how Nigerian government would have killed a man who was trying to save his life from the hands of terrorists." Nigerian government is enabling terrorism. Simple. Another added, so it takes America for Nigeria to do the right thing. God bless America, and in God we trust. Ask yourself, why does international pressure succeed where constitutional duty fails? We want your honest answer in the comment section below. On Tuesday, Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, exercising his constitutional prerogative of mercy, granted Sunday Jackson a full pardon as part of Christmas and New Year celebrations. Officially, the pardon was based on recommendations from the Adamawa State Advisory Council on the prerogative of mercy and Jackson's good conduct in custody. Unofficially, many Nigerians see it differently. They see it as a quiet admission that the system failed. Because let's be clear, a pardon does not declare innocence. It merely stops punishment. And that raises another troubling question. If the conviction was sound, why the urgency to undo its consequences?
The next step in this analysis is to examine this question. Was the death sentence legally justifiable? Under Nigerian criminal law, self-defense is a recognized defense when a person reasonably believes their life is in danger. The facts of this case, an armed attack, a struggle, no evidence of premeditation, fit squarely within that principle. Yet the courts treated Jackson not as a victim who survived violence, but a criminal who deserved death. Legally, this sets a dangerous precedent. 1. It weakens the doctrine of self-defense. 2. It criminalizes survival in rural conflict zones. 3. It emboldens attackers who know victims may fear legal consequences more than death. One Nigerian on X captured this perfectly. He did not just kill a herder, he defended himself against a terrorist. Please get your headline right. So let's ask plainly, if self-defense can still lead to death row, what protection does the law truly offer ordinary Nigerians? Share your thoughts in the comment section. As we analyze this critical issue, we must also remember the other family too. Amid the celebration, there is one voice that deserves respect, the father of the deceased herder. In a remarkable display of humanity, he publicly forgave Sunday Jackson and called for his release. That act matters. It reminds us that justice is not revenge and compassion does not weaken society, it strengthens it. This is not about denying that a life was lost. It is about recognizing why it was lost and whether the state's response made things better or infinitely worse.
Following Jackson's freedom, there are some Nigerians who express fears about his safety. Another ex-user warned, he needs to be removed from that state as soon as possible. There are some people who would not be happy with this pardon. Freedom in this case comes with fear, and that alone tells you how fragile justice has become. We also have to look at the way forward and what must change. The Sunday Jackson case must not end as a feel-good Christmas story. It must become a judicial turning point. Nigeria's justice system must urgently, 1. Reaffirm and clarify self-defense laws, 2. Ensure consistency in Supreme Court reasoning, 3. Protect rural and vulnerable citizens, 4. Stop relying on international embarrassment to correct domestic injustice, because no sovereign nation should need instructions from abroad to uphold its own constitution. Before we end, let's hear from you. Do you believe the Nigerian judiciary acted justly in this case? Should the Supreme Court review similar convictions nationwide? Has Nigeria's justice system lost public trust, or can it still be redeemed? Share your thoughts in the comment section and remember to like and subscribe to the channel.